Hi guys, what is going on? And welcome back to another episode of Total War Arena. So, what have we got today? We are looking at the Tier 5 Sarmatian Lancers. So this is kind of one of those premium units that was recently ported over from the Total War Arena shop into the in-game, so it can be brought for gold. And with it being the weekend, I think it was 50% off. It's only 1,000 gold, and I've been earning a bit through my leveling, and I just thought, well, I always kind of meant to pick this unit up at the time, but never got round to it. So yeah, I thought, let's pick it up and give them a go. I heard they were supposed to be quite good for their tier. And my god, they are good. They are a very good unit. Firstly, they look pretty cool, although they initially look quite out of place in the Roman roster. They look far more sort of Eastern, don't they? They're rather than being someone in the Roman army. Obviously, they're just serving as an auxiliary unit, but yeah, a very cool looking unit with their like scale armor, etc. And they don't play like Roman cavalry really at all. So they play much more like Greek cavalry really. They are all about the charge. Well, they're predominantly about the charge because they have absolutely enormous charge impact and impact damage. More specifically, the impact damage, but not to mention their charge impact 312. Is really good for this sort of tier. That's a really solid amount of charge impact. I wouldn't want to be facing Greeks in wedge at tier 5, but you know, other than that, I'd be fairly comfortable tackling on almost any other cavalry unit and being expecting to win in a head-to-head charge, which is really quite good. And then on top of that, their charge impact damage is really quite high. What is that? 252, I think. 252, which is actually really high for this tier. I should hopefully, if I can do my editing like last time, we should get a little box that just shows sort of the main aggression stats of the main tech tree versions of the cavalry, like the Romans, the Greeks, and the barbarians. And you should see that these guys serve really well. The barbarians initially look like they have pretty good impact damage stats, and they do, particularly better than the Roman cavalry. But you know, you've got to remember that Scipio's ability at this stage is plus 30% impact damage, so that's making this already high level of impact damage even higher, whereas the barbarians don't have a commander specific charge, they just have a proprietary unit charge, which means they get no buff to their impact damage when they charge. So as you see, these guys do a ton of damage when they slam into units, and it kind of makes it really even quite effective against infantry units, because even heavy infantry units with a good charge deflect will take quite a lot of damage even frontally, and then in the rear they suffer pretty badly, which is where these guys just absolutely excel at. But it's not quite like the Greeks, where they are all about the charge, really good on the charge, but then suck in anything else. You know, because they actually won. Remember, this is tier 5, and their body armor value is 158, which is really high for a tier 5 unit. Not to mention the fact that actually in the end I decided not to. I wanted the impact damage to make it better and better, but you can run this with the consumable, which gives another plus 11 body armor. You know, you can be getting that to what, 169. You know, you're going to be blocking a serious amount of damage with that. I mean, obviously it's worth noting they don't have shields, but you know, that's a really good body armor value for what this cavalry is. That makes them not so bad in hand to hand. Not to mention the fact that I'm running with 127 melee attack, again pretty good. Weapon damage is a little low at 182, but no worse than the equivalent Roman cavalry, which is supposed to be the hand to hand, you know, fighting tough cavalry. So these guys really do serve pretty well in this sort of role. What else is it to say? As I say, yeah, I'm running with the War Steeds consumable, mostly for the impact damage, to be honest, because, as I say, the way impact damage works, I don't fully have a full understanding of the stats, but in essence, how stats kind of work in Total War Arena is it's one stat minus another stat, and that little bit left over is the damage you do. So, you know, if you have an impact damage of 250 against some heavy Roman infantry, which have a resistance to impact damage of 245, then the actual damage you're doing is 5. So if you then go and add 16 onto that, while you add 16 to 236 doesn't sound like so much, but when you realise that then that takes you from being just 5 over to 25 over, then suddenly it is actually a lot, because your damage percentage is going up, you know, hundreds of times. So percentage wise, my maths is terrible. So yeah, so that's why trying to exacerbate strong stats by using consumables that fit them really makes them quite a lot more powerful, because of the way the stats work like that in Total War Arena. That's true for almost all stats. So if you can get melee weapon damage or missile weapon damage that little bit higher, then you suddenly overcome body armor values that are resisting that, and then the damage just multiplies so much more proportionally if you can get over and above that sort of tipping point where all these stats are balanced around. So yeah, that's kind of what I've found on them so far. Other than that, they have no real special abilities, other than the fact they get a mount kick. It's just awesome. I mean, if there was one cavalry ability you could pick to take, wouldn't it not be mount kick, which is just the best one? So that's really quite cool for this at this tier. And they obviously get their war cry, which is quite a nice little ability for these guys down at tier 5 with that 20 morale damage. Oath to Perseverance, yeah, not quite so good, but still better than a poke in the eye. So let's hop into. I had a really awesome replay with these guys as I was trying them out in a couple of battles. So let's hop into that and see how we got on. So we are loading into the Battle of Rubicon with our heavy lancers, our Sarmatians. So initially, I'm just sort of pulling back, trying to keep looking for targets, seeing what I'm thinking I'm going to be doing. The sort of tier 4s, I think there might be some tier 6s possibly. No, I'm top tier by the looks of it, at tier 5 along with some other people. So yeah, so initially I don't want to do anything silly. There's quite a few enemy pikemen around, not pikemen, spearmen. Don't want to start doing that mistake again. Quite a few enemy spearmen around. There's pike down here, there's enemy archers. And I don't want to get caught into anything just straight at the beginning of the game and throwing myself away, because while these are a good unit, they are not invincible by any stretch of the imagination. And here was an element where I made a bit of an error really, because I wasn't paying attention. I was just sort of right clicking, moving them down this way, and they actually split themselves around this fork in the road for whatever reason. And I feared I was getting dangerously close to these tier 5 slingers, who I'm surprised I didn't come in range of, to be honest. And then the enemy archers coming up on the rough here, so I, instead of following this path down here, which I felt would bring me into range of them, and I don't want to be taking damage for no reason, it's just damage for no benefit for the team. So instead I actually bring myself up around this way, around towards the back of the map. It's actually turned out to be a really slow start to the game. No one has really done anything. And eventually things start to get underway where some war dogs unleash themselves against these tier 4 pikemen, which is actually the perfect target for war dogs. Well done for good target selection. And I'm just working my way around the back. Can't quite decide what I want to do yet. I thought about pushing down here in the centre, or going for these archers, but then again, they've got cover from spearmen, and I didn't feel I would be able to take them out effectively without taking an equal amount of losses. I didn't know if that was really worth it at this time. So I'm just sort of milling around, taking my time, deciding what to do. The team's doing actually a really quite a good job of taking out these pikemen in the centre of the map. Particularly these war dogs, who are causing them a lot of problems. They're getting stuck in, but they're taking quite a lot of damage from the enemy archers now. After this I decided there wasn't really an opportunity for me here, because this shadow player is doing a very good job of sort of providing that sort of shadowing cover to his archers. So I decided to move across the valley, looking for targets over here, trying to decide what to do, and I was getting to the point now where I felt like I hadn't contributed anything to the game, so I rather foolishly just decided, right, let's just charge someone. You get an idea of how much these guys do. It's charging to the back of an equivalent tier infantry unit, and we immediately basically take a third of its health, just over a third of its health. 10,000 damage on a 24,000 hit point unit. So it's really good going. Not to mention the fact we actually just do reasonably in hand-to-hand combat. You can see the sort of damage we are getting, and while we are losing, undoubtedly, we're not doing too badly. We then get charged again, and I realise, I really shouldn't be in this fight. Look around and look at the way this flank is going. Yeah, I made a bit of an error here, and the battle's really started to tip us against us now, and I feel like that was a rushed decision, I think. I think because I hadn't contributed much to the team so far in terms of the game, I sort of felt like I had to do something, which is why I made that choice. And it was a bad choice. We actually got a bit of damage in, thanks to the really strong charge of these guys, which is obviously what makes them nice, but it wasn't a decision I should have been making. However, and then as I'm being followed by these Romans, I sort of didn't think I was going to get away, and when they started to turn, I thought, well, this unit's so badly damaged anyway, just go for a counter charge. You see, we've got a really good amount of damage in there. We actually did more to the dogs, but we can see how much damage we got. 250 aggression points, half a unit just in damage on that one charge. So that goes to show how they work really well. These Romans then get drawn into chasing us again, and I see my opportunity here to start to cause some damage against these guys. So we bring in my remaining units. Come with my commander, go for a nice early charge. Boom, really good initial charge damage. You can see how much we spread out there. I come in for another charge. Not so good on that one. I missed. I should have flanked actually further down and tried to chase them. But you can see how much damage you can rack up just from one charge with these guys. And you're always going to be winning against Romans like this. You only have to look at their charge impact values of 264 is significantly lower than what we're running at, what, 300 and something, 312. So, you know, we're always going to be winning that hit on charge. So I then pursue the Romans across the field because things are starting to pick up a little bit on this side. But I then notice these archers here, and they look undefended. Until old buddy Shadow and his spearman arrives again. He's doing a brilliant job of providing cover for these guys. But these other archers, Asprey over here, seems like he pulled more to the north rather than pulling down to his cover down here, which seemed to me to be an error. And he waited quite a long time, and then these archers started to come this way as well. Don't know why. So we take damage from the archers, obviously facing them off, but our armour is so high that we're actually only taking penetration damage. So we get our charge in right through the archers, 10,000, 5,000, and a little bit on the other one. We basically almost completely eliminate 2 units of archers straight from the off. Obviously clipped a couple of units on a cliff over there, and then bringing those guys back round. We do then get caught a bit into hand-to-hand with Shadow, brings his mercenary units in. I was just trying to finish these archers off. I thought they had so little hit points left that I could finish them off without too much trouble. I then spot another group here and go for the same sort of thing. Oh no, I don't, because I missed my charge because it hadn't cooled down. I forgot about that. Yeah, I at the time when I did that, I thought, oh, I'm going to get a lovely charge off here, and then I pressed my hotkey for F for my charge and realised, of course, I hadn't cooled down. But I'd pull out before the hoplites turn up too much. I lose a unit here. I basically couldn't get these guys out, so I decided that for what it was worth, I might as well just oath them. At least it distracted that guy. And look at this. I mean, I mean, wow. How ridiculous. We just completely flattened, basically, 4 to 5 units of archers there. Look at them all. We just completely eliminated all of them. And now it's just mopping up. There's just so many archers for me to mop up here. Obviously, I'm trying to get in with my hand-to-hand damage. I'm actually getting pretty good damage against these archers for our tier. You know, I've got so much to mop up, and I'm being shot at by the enemy archers as well. My little guy's just hanging on over there. So I was trying to kill these archers off, but thinking, wow, I was waiting for my cooldown, because obviously I just fell victim to that over there on these guys before I wanted to take out this larger group here as well, because I felt that these were the ones doing a lot of damage to me. So I curve around, line up, go for the charge, straight through them. You know, 11,000 damage. It's just so easy because the charge impact damage, as I say, just with working particularly with that consumable, drags it up to be high enough that it's just so damaging, particularly against light units like archers. And then just to compound their woe, we go in with a mount kick. You know, it really is devastating in this sort of situation. And that's the amount of, you can build up so many aggression points so quickly and so ruthlessly when you catch archers in this sort of situation. And, you know, by this point, Shadow's got caught up in other hand-to-hand combat. That's in part why I oathed with that other guy, because by doing that, even though I was sacrificing a unit, one, it wasn't my commander unit, and two, I felt that it was just a sacrifice worth making, because I didn't think he was going to be able to get out. I thought if I tried to pull him out, there's a reasonable chance he's going to rat anyway. So by leaving him there, at least he distracts the enemy. I mean, what could they do? I mean, really, they didn't stand much of a chance, did they? So we did that. I sort of now just on the cooldown, because that was a really pretty intense moment trying to deal with all those archers, but basically all the enemy archers are dealt with apart from the slingers. We got 4,400 aggression points, really pleased with that, but it's still a really quite a close game. It could easily go either way. And I was also a little bit concerned. I noticed there was nothing here in our base. We've got all our armies over here, and there's all I can see of the enemies is cavalry here, so I thought, what have we got over there? So I'm seeing this tilt myself down just as the base cap starts to flick on. I was talking to Twist Dude in chat. You know, he said, oh, I'll come back with you, because we didn't know what was in base. But though, as I was starting to cross the river here at this point, I was beginning to think, well, it's obviously not a lot, because the rate of base capture is so slow. So we know that it's only a very few enemy units on our base, because if it was 3, you know, full health Roman infantry units, something like that, the capture would be going up pretty quickly. But it's not, so we know it's something small. As we come round, it's just a handful of enemy barbarian warband, or warriors, whatever they are. I pushed myself a bit wide to clear the edge of the building. I was trying to get a nice clean run, because I don't want to clip into the building too much. Go for a charge. They tried Scorched Earth, didn't really do a lot. And then I just wheel back round. I think then I go for a war cry possibly, because you might as well use it. A bit late. Come on, there we go. I remembered it in the end, and of course that's just enough to take that little morale they have left. And of course we take basically no losses, 57 damage, and secured our base from the enemy. I considered loitering around here, but then I thought, oh, war dogs. I thought, oh, well, I'm already doing pretty well on the points, and sort of the point haul that I am, I thought, aha, I see an opportunity here. This is Perhaps one of the failings of these guys, which I didn't talk about that much at the beginning though, is the movement speed. 7.47, you know, it's not fast, particularly in cavalry terms. You know, it's similar to any sort of classic Roman cavalry speed. I kind of wish now that at this point they had a dash, but I mean, they don't need it. It's not as if they're lacking for abilities and strength, these guys. So I come up behind these guys. I mean, this is just absolutely perfect for me. Lightly armoured Barbarian War Dogs. Charge. Really good amount of damage. I mean, look how much damage we did. We just took like 2/3 of the health off that frontal unit as we slam into him. Obviously, now we're getting into hand-to-hand combat a bit with these War Dogs and some dogs, which is not these guys' strong points. You know, it's the charge. It's what makes them good. But I thought, well, we're going to be here now just to the end of the game. I felt we'd got this in the bag. So I oath myself, give myself that extra bit of defence, and just get stuck into as much hand-to-hand combat as I can. Would rather have not been shot by allies, but there we go. One of the guys routes as well. I kind of wish I still had my war cry at this point, because I could have got a lot of them. But just slowly get a bit of damage in hand-to-hand, because they're not so bad in hand-to-hand combat that they don't do anything. And there we go, we just finish off the last sort of couple of these enemy guys over here. Anyway, still got a couple of cavalry units left around, and there's supposed to be some enemy slingers around, although I don't actually know where they are. I noticed we were being capped out quite quickly now, so I guess that suggests where the enemy slingers are. I ummed and ahed. I thought, where am I going to go? I felt one of the best bet was just to get myself into our cap circle to try and just get us to cap quickly, but we do anyway. We get in and secure the victory. Yes, that was a really nice game. I was really pleased with that. But as a general rule, these guys are really quite easy to play. That really high charge impact, which means you're going to be winning against the cavalry, and then the impact damage, which just means that even if you charge into a bad sort of situation, you're going to be doing a good amount of damage. So it's really quite easy to contribute well with these guys. Then their strong body armor is nice. Mount kick is also a really nice ability for getting yourself out of some situations, because it causes really good amounts of knockdown to enemy units. So you'll find yourself in a fight versus infantry which you shouldn't be in. You know, activate your knock kick, and you can normally get out with a lot less losses because it causes knockdown on quite a few of the enemy models. So really quite effective. And of course, they are being a premium unit. You know, you'll get the 50% extra silver, free experience, and normal experience. And yeah, they really are just an absolutely superb unit. Yeah, I've been out a while now, but yeah, just ported over in the last patch or two, I think, to the shop phone to be available for gold. I don't know how much they normally cost. I probably can't find out now, can I? Because no, because I can't see them. Can you tell me? No, it won't. But they're 1,000 gold for me, but I think they might have been half price, so maybe they're normally 2,000. So hopefully you've enjoyed this sort of brief overview of the Tier 5 Sarmatian Lancers. Certainly a good unit if you're looking to get a premium unit of this to the tier. I'd highly recommend them. They are quite good fun to play. So thanks for watching, guys. Yeah, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Please subscribe to the channel for lots more Total War Arena content, and I shall see you all on the next video.